All right.
You ready to go?
So, hi everyone. My name is Taylor Abram, and I did my research report on horse racing. So, how many of you in here know what horse racing is? So, most of you. How many of you know the controversies that come with horse racing? Not as many. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to talk about that with you guys today. So, my major is animal science with a pre-vet emphasis, and my interest is in horses. I have a ton of horse experience. I've grown up with them. I've trained them, showed. I'm currently on the equestrian team, and my end goal is to become an equine vet. My research question and hypothesis is, does horse racing have a negative effect on the health of young horses? And my hypothesis is that yes, racing does have a negative impact on young horse health. So my rhetorical situation was that I am a veterinary assistant and research team leader for Dr. Kim Sargent, and we have a lot of racehorse owners as our clients, and we want to do research to answer questions to our clients as well as provide information for the equine industry altogether. The sources I used were online. I had 4 websites, a print source that I found on the library database, and an empirical source, which was a survey that I had pre-vet students in the Introduction to Animal Science class take. So my methods were, the first was online, and I had a holistic veterinarian website. It's titled Good, Bad, and Ugly of Horse Racing. The second was 2-year-old racing. The third was racehorse health, and the fourth was horse racing cruelty. My print source was by University of Florida researchers who paired up with Florida horse racing industry, and they did their research on how horse racing affects the health, and their purpose was to determine what was causing so many injuries on the track. And my empirical survey, like I said before, was taken by pre-vet students here at the U, and I asked 5 direct questions, which were, do you know what horse racing is? How old are the racehorses? Are there controversies within horse racing? Do you feel that horse racing is abusive? And where do racehorses end up when they are done with their career? So for my results, the holistic vet talked about the stresses from traveling, pre- and post-race injuries, and quote, lucky and unlucky horses. Now he explained a lot about these lucky and unlucky horses, and the lucky ones are the ones who, win a lot of money and retire in those nice green fields that we see. But the unlucky ones are the ones who get injured or maybe don't make as much money, who get sent off to auction, and then from auction either they hopefully get bought by a farm or family, or they get sent off to the slaughterhouses. And the 2-year-old racing website talked a lot about how 2-year-olds are not skeletally mature, and horses don't mature until 5 years old. And it was interesting, I actually found that there's more money involved in these 2-year-old races than there are in races for older horses. The third online source was on horse health, and it didn't have an author, but it just listed out all the injuries that happen to these athletes and the procedures that they use to cure these. And the fourth site was PETA, which a lot of people know of, and it was 100% against horse racing. It talked a lot about how 2-year-olds are not physically or mentally mature for racing. Now for my print source, they actually, through their research, they found a correlation between the age, gender, the last race date, and actually the type of footing that is used while racing. And they found for the gender that more geldings are used and injured, because if a gelding is injured, there's really no more use for them because they can't breed. And they found that younger horses require less money. And another interesting fact is that horses who have a resting period that was longer than 2 weeks in between their last race were more injured and more susceptible to new injuries. And the other fact that I really had no idea was that turf footing, which is this green, natural-looking grass, causes more injuries than the normal dirt footing. And for my survey, everyone knew what horse racing was. And for number 2, that was how old are horse races, they guessed between ages 2 or 6, or they didn't know. Most people did not know of any controversies within racing, and they didn't feel that it was abusive. And for the last question, a lot of people guessed that horses went to farms, or they just didn't know where horses ended up. And it was funny, for actually one of the surveys, somebody wrote, "Why would it be abusive? It's just like us running on a track." And so for my discussion, I found, I tried to have, keep it not biased, but within this, every single website I found had something negative to say, and that the only good thing was the money that is coming out of this horse racing. And through the online sources, it really showed that horse racing does affect the health of these young horses in a negative way, and a lot of the times I found that they have fatal incidences on the track. The print source, I found the correlation between injuries, gender, and last rate date and footing, and they said in the end that they were going to do more research on the footing because they're not 100% about it yet. And with my survey, I found that people knew they knew about horse racing, they knew about this glamorized sport, but they didn't really know of the dark side of horse racing. All right, any questions? Rachel.
Hi, this is Rachel. So for your hypothetical situation then, what did you recommend something, or did you come out with some sort of information to give to your clients? What did that end up being?
It ended up being that that we did find that it does have a negative impact, and that there could be more. What I recommended is that there could be more research done, since we just have this basis now that it is bad. There could be more research done on, well, what can we do now for these racehorses to help cause less injuries to them, because horse racing just isn't going to become illegal and stop. They're always going to continue to do it just because of the money within it. So how can we improve the lives of these racehorses?
This is Mary. How come they start horse racing at 2 years old? Why is that the prime age?
Yeah, that they're technically still, their bones are still forming until they're 5. So they start them at 2 because if they waited till 5, think of all the money that they're wasting on feed, training. You know, there's a lot of money. It's all based on money. Yeah.
This is Connor. You said there were correlations between gender, age, and turf.
Yeah.
Were older horses less likely to become injured, or can you explain the correlations?
Yeah. So for they use the younger horses because they're training these young horses so hard that by the time these horses are probably 8 years old, they've already developed so many injuries, like arthritis, there's bone chips that are involved, broken bones, so basically we get these 8 to 10-year-old horses who you really can't use because they're so injured already, and 8 to 10 is a prime age for a horse. They shouldn't develop arthritis by then. Yeah, Rachel.
I think it was on that same study. This is Rachel again. I think it was that same study said, and it surprised me, that if they'd had a 2-week rest period or longer, they were more prone to injury.
Yeah.
Did they say anything more about that, why that was?
They didn't say much about that. They said that since these horses are being, they're resting because of, bowed tendon or something, they're resting on that. They go out when they're completely healed. Either that same injury happens again because they're not as strong anymore, or they're prone to new injuries that happen because they haven't been racing for 2 weeks. So you take a star athlete and then and then stop working them, you throw them back on the track 2 weeks later, and they're not ready for all of the hard work. It's like you have to build them up.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. Oh,
Any more?
but yeah, no, okay.